Since the beginning of the course, we have been using a term called polar curve. So now in this lesson, we'll learn what is polar curve. It is a parameter that helps us identify the intensity of a light at a particular point in the room that you are going to design. When you are designing a lighting system for a room, you have to know the particular polar curve for every light you are choosing. As a lighting designing engineer, this curve helps us to visualize how the lamp is going to spread the light across the room. So let me give you an example. So this is the lamp. So it has a light it is spreading light upward and downward. So its polar curve will be like this. This is the polar curve of this particular lamp. So every light that we are going to use, you will get this polar curve from its catalog. Manufacturer will provide this polar curve, and depending on this polar curve, we will choose the lamps as per our requirement. So this is the polar curve, and this is how this light is spreading. The light will give the light only to these portions, and this portion will be black. There will be no light here, and there will be no light on the right side and the left side. The light will be on the upside and the downside. In this light, the polar curve will be like this. So it will give light only in this area, and rest of the areas will be black. In this lamp, downwards, luminaires will be downwards, except this portion. All other portion will be black. Like here, the polar curve will be like this. This is the source, and this is the point where we'll get the maximum light, and this area will be complete black. In case of this type of lights, the polar curve will be different. Polar curve will be like this. This portion will be black, only this area will be lighted up by this lamp. This is the polar curve of this lamp. So suppose we are going to design a lighting system for an office, and we need light on this desk, on this area and these areas. We doesn't need any light on the floor, only on the desk. So we will choose a light that has polar curve like this, because we don't need any focus on these areas. All the focus will be here. So in that case, we have to choose the lamps, the luminaires, such a way that it has polar curve is like this. Let me give you a practical example. If we are designing a supermarket, and if we are using this kind of luminaires, then its curve will be like this. So the whole area will be lighted up, like in the floor and this racks and this rack also. But we want the focus on the rack only, on this rack only. So we have to choose a different kind of polar curve. So if you use this luminaire, the polar curve will be like this. If you see these two pictures properly, then you will see this floor is a bit bright compared to this. So here in this picture, the focus is only on these racks, and there is lesser light on the floor. So it is better if you use this kind of polar curve for supermarket. We can use also like this. You can use luminaires like this. So focus will be here, only on the racks, and the floor will be bit lesser bright. So far the polar curves that we have discussed are asymmetrical. Means if you see from this side, the front side, the polar curve will look like this. But if you see from this side or this side, this polar curve would look like different. Like in this example, if you see this polar curve from this side, the curve would look like this. But if you see this from this side, this will be like this. So the shape of the curve changes from the direction we are looking at. But there are some polar curve that will be symmetrical. Doesn't need from which side you are looking at. Suppose a polar curve produced by the normal bulb, and that is called double polar light curve. If you see here, there are two planes. This is one plane and this is another plane. So if you take this plane, the polar curve would look like this. And if you see in this plane, polar curve would look like this. So it doesn't matter in which side you are looking at, the polar curve will always look like this. So this is a double polar curve lights, the bulb. So that's it for now about polar curve. We'll learn more about it in the further lessons. So now let's move on to the next lesson.